Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update from Sebastian Fitness Solutions. You've all seen the meme, right? Where you've got this wife who's asking her husband, for some action that night, and he says, cardio, but I lose my gains. Can you actually imagine someone saying that to their wife? What is up, everybody? This is Sebastian from Sebastian Fitness Solutions, and in today's video I'm going to be answering the question, should you do cardio while building muscle? Now, we've all heard the sayings, we've all seen the memes, cardio, but I lose my gains. And this idea has permeated our community so much to the point where you have a lot of people who completely avoid any kind of cardiovascular activity, for the sake of not wanting to compromise on their muscle gains. Heck, it comes to a point where some people even take it to the next level and just try and avoid as much activity in the day as possible for the same purpose, and pretty much leading their lives like a slob. You've all seen the meme, right? Where you've got this wife who's asking her husband, for some action that night, and he says, cardio, but I lose my gains. Can you actually imagine someone saying that to their wife? Now, as far-fetched as that sounds, it's not really, you never know when it comes to the fitness and bodybuilding community. But all jokes aside, does this idea have any merit? This whole idea that doing cardiovascular work or doing cardio in general is going to compromise your muscle gain? And the answer is, to a certain extent, yes. In the sense that if you overdo cardio, if you do too much of it, then it can affect muscle gain. But if you do it smartly and you do it wisely, most certainly not. Now, before I get into the details and nuances of that, let me first discuss one thing that needs to be brought into perspective, and that is fitness in general. And more specifically, the 5 key components that make up ballistic fitness. Now, of course, I wouldn't say that these 5 components are the end-all, be-all components of fitness. However, they're the 5 most key components when it comes to talking about fitness in general. So what are they? Number 1, musculoskeletal strength. Number 2, muscular endurance. Number 3, cardiovascular endurance. Number 4, ideal body composition. And number 5, flexibility. Now, 2 of these components, cardiovascular endurance and muscular endurance, are components that are developed through cardio workouts or through cardiovascular activity. And compromising or not doing these cardio activities in general will completely undertrain these 2 very important key components of fitness, thereby leading you to not be the fittest version of yourself. Now, no matter what your goal is, whether you want to get strong, whether you want to look aesthetic, one thing that must be brought into perspective is fitness in general. One must not get so obsessed with one specific main goal of theirs that they completely forget overall fitness. Because you remember that to improve fitness, all 5 of these key components have to improve together, synergistically. But if even one of them don't improve or even one of them actually stays stagnant, then overall fitness is compromised. So this is very important to keep in mind, and it's a perspective that I personally share, and I would hope that you guys share as well, that even if there was maybe, say, a slight compromise in muscle or strength gains, if you did some cardio, it would still be worth it in the sense of overall fitness, because you want to make sure that your heart and your overall endurance stays, at a good level for you to be fit. However, we live in a world where people don't really pay much heed to such advice, and once they are obsessed over a certain goal, they'll do anything for it. So you do have a lot of people who don't really care about being fit, don't really care about being healthy. All they care about is gains. So to those people, I think if you're still watching and if that's what you're really here for, then that's what I'm going to be addressing right now. So getting back to the question, whether cardio would hamper your gains or get in the way of it or make you lose muscle or inhibit muscle growth, again, the answer is that yes, it can if it's overdone or if it's done foolishly. But if you manage it well, if you program the whole thing properly, then it should not have that or should not create any measurable difference in your gains. And what I mean by this is that there is a certain specific approach that you can take when you program your cardiovascular workouts into your training, that if done that way, you can minimize the occurrences of muscle loss or inhibition of muscle gain. And the very first thing in that to keep in mind is your caloric intake. Now, we all know that if you're trying to build muscle, you've got to be in a calorie surplus. That is eating more calories than you're burning day in and day out, right? Now, what most people fail to do when they add in some cardio, let's say they've got their strength training going on, they know they've got to eat more food, and they are in a caloric surplus at the moment, which is why they're building muscle. But then they decide, okay, I'm going to add some cardio into my routine. And then what happens is, because you've added cardio into your routine, you've added an extra activity for, depending on how much and how often you do it, it could actually cause you to burn a significant amount of calories per day and per week. And if you don't account for those added calories burnt when you're calculating your caloric surplus, you may as well, shorten that surplus or end up at maintenance or even end up at a deficit. And that is when you see people ending up losing weight or losing muscle, and then they blame cardio. But it's not cardio that's the issue here. It's the lack of adjustment of your diet to make, accommodate this added cardio into your routine. So if you are planning to add in some cardio, which you should, by the way, like I mentioned before, then one of the key things to keep in mind is to adjust your calorie intake, your diet, to account for this added cardio. That is going to be more calories coming in through more carbs and more protein. Specifically, possibly some more fat as well. Depends. But for the most part, your calorie intake has to increase. The second thing to keep in mind is that this point about calories being the cause of it primarily works to a certain extent. There can be very well issues times where you may be in a caloric surplus despite adding in some more cardio, and you still compromise on muscle gain or you still lose muscle. And that is if the volume or the intensity or the frequency of the cardio workout that you're doing is too much. And when that is too much, what will happen is it will eat into your recovery. And as you know, when it comes to building strength and muscle, you need all three components: training, nutrition and recovery, all three pieces of the puzzle, all three legs of a tripod working together in equal quantity to get those results. So if, for example, your training is on point, you're training hard in the gym, your nutrition is on point as well, you're eating enough calories, but if you're doing too much cardio, you're eating into your recovery, and that would be the very reason why you're not building more muscle or you're losing muscle. So one of the key things to keep in mind after you account for caloric intake is to manage the amount of cardio you're doing. So whether it's intensity, you have some people who skip cardio, but then some who just want to do high intensity sprints all the time. That is definitely going to eat into your recovery if you do it too often. The same thing with moderate intensity cardio. You may not do it as intense, but if you do it for an hour and a half, which is again not very unrealistic compared to when you look at a lot of people who actually do that stuff, that you bring that maybe twice, thrice, 4 times a week, and suddenly you've eaten into your recovery too much, and that's the reason why you're not making gains. So whenever and whatever kind of cardio you're incorporating, you got to make sure that you control these 3 variables very well: intensity, volume and frequency. And if you're not building muscle, you're eating enough calories, and then maybe you got to look at one of these 3 variables and see, maybe I got to adjust something over there, right? So there you go. Those are 2 key things to keep in mind when you're incorporating cardio, like you should, into your muscle building or your strength routine in general. Just make sure that you account for these 2 things, and you will most likely reduce or make it insignificant any extent of negative impact on your muscle and strength gains. With that being said, there is actually a certain case for cardio being beneficial for you in building some more muscle as well in the long term. And there are 2 things there are 2 ways I would attribute, or 2 benefits I would attribute to cardio in which it would help you in your muscle gain journey. The first thing would be, if you were to incorporate some low to very slight moderate intensity cardio, on a semi-regular basis into your weekly routine, what you would be doing is something called as active recovery. And what I mean by that is, if let's say for example you add in some light, easy cycling into your routine, when you're doing that cycling, you're going to be causing more blood to be shuttled into the muscles of your legs that you're working during that cycling activity. And as we know, blood is what carries nutrients to our body, to our various tissues. And by getting in that extra blood in those muscles, we'll be accelerating its recovery, that it's already in process of taking care of because of some session that we've done before in terms of strength. So by doing such light intensity cardio activity, we can actually facilitate recovery to some extent because of more blood flow to the area, and also for certain other reasons, like by mobilizing the whole thing, so you can reduce soreness, and a number of indirect ways it can work that way as well. The second way it can help you is improving your cardiovascular endurance, and improving endurance in general, muscular endurance included, is a sign of improved fitness. And that can indirectly help you in many ways in and outside the gym. So let's take, for example, if you're someone who has good cardiovascular and muscular endurance, you could technically recover faster between sets. So therefore, cutting down the time you have to spend in between strength sets in the gym, saving time there, and possibly allowing you more time and more energy and greater recovery capacity for you to do maybe more sets, because you won't be so tired anymore. Another thing that is, if you do a regular cardio, you make sure that your muscles are pliable, they're free of soreness for the most part from your strength sessions. It also helps in mobility as well. That can also indirectly affect the quality of your strength sessions and make them better, and that's how it can help you positively there. Another thing that you can factor is that something that I've seen very often is you have a guy who's huge and he's strong and he can probably lift like 400 pounds for a couple of reps here and there easily, but you maybe drop 100 pounds and maybe have him do sets of 8 and he's all gassed out. Like a lot of famous powerlifters say anything above 5 reps is cardio. So you see them, they're unable to do that weight for most many reps, not because they don't have the strength for it, but simply because they just don't have the energy and they don't have the endurance for that. You end up seeing them just puffing and panting with just a few reps, and that's crazy. So being fit enough and having good endurance enough to be able to do different kind of cardio activities will help you to perform in the strength in the gym as well, without getting too tired with maybe moderate to higher rep sets as well. Okay, so these are some ways in which making sure that you take care of your endurance will also benefit you when it comes to your strength gains, the pursuit of your strength gains in the long term. So I really hope that this video was informative for you and it has encouraged you to finally put this myth to rest and start incorporating some good amount of cardio, again wisely, but good amount of cardio into your routine. Personally, I play basketball thrice a week. I love the sport. It's been something that I've played even before getting into strength workouts, and it's something that I hope to do for as long as I'm able to. And while I do that, and it has in the beginning affected how much muscle I gain, I quickly learned to adjust to it very well by adjusting my calories and adjusting my recovery, all the same tips that I've shared with you. So I would encourage you to go out and find something that you like to do, push yourself to it, improve your endurance, improve your fitness overall, and lead a lifestyle that makes you holistically fit rather than just jacked, but only for show, right? So I really hope that this video was informative, and if it was, don't forget to give this a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, click the subscribe button right now. What are you waiting for? Click it right now. And share this video with any of your friends and your gym buddies who are still falling prey to this myth and who avoid cardio, like anything. So send this to them, share this with them, so hopefully they would see the light as well and start doing some cardio. Okay? That's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep learning, keep growing. Hey, thank you for watching that video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And finally, to watch another video, click right over here.